When I read the Christmas story from Luke for my family, which I mean, my kids are all grown up now and have their own homes, but whenever we were together as a family for that 20, 22 years, whatever it was, the most special moment for us was when I would get to the story of Simeon and Anna. When the little baby is presented in the temple, and Simeon, this old prophet, takes the baby in his arms. Now letteth thy servant depart in peace, for mine eyes have seen thy salvation. I tear up just thinking about it. Here you had a remarkable godly man and woman who understood that there was more than a baby here, that this was a fulfillment of literally centuries of anticipation of Mashiach, you know, the coming Messiah.
I think what Luke is, this is another example of Luke using, bringing in other figures as witnesses, like a Greek chorus, to testify. In case you didn't think something cosmic is happening here, here are these two elder Israelites, pious people from the old covenant, saying, don't miss it. In this child, something new, a whole new order is being established by God, and we want to be the first to give our testimony to it. It's really a great, apart from it being part of God's Word, it's also a great literary device, I think, that Luke comes up with.
Now, there's another aspect to this chorus, and it's a lament. It's a slaughter of the innocents. Most Christmas stories, pageants, whatever, sermons, don't talk about this.
I say in my book that if you're going to have a Christmas party with lots of eggnog, you don't want to tell the story about the babies being slaughtered. And if you're a kind of super patriot, you maybe don't want to hear the story that the first resistance to Jesus is a king, and Jesus is seen as a threat to the power of the state and to all earthly powers. And so both Matthew and Luke keep throwing in these titles that suggest it used to be Caesar in Rome, but now this child is Lord. And in Christian ethics, we sometimes talk about Christian realism, in which it's not all happy talk, but there's this dark side that Christians also have to be able to face, and that the crucifixion is an example of. And what my own tradition, Lutherans, love about Bach is that on Christmas Day in the Christmas oratorio, when you're listening to all these great Christmas hymns, he sets a couple of them to a Good Friday tune. And surely Matthew and Luke are doing the same thing. Yes, it's this baby, it's this wonderful moment, but as Simeon says to Mary, a sword will pierce your own heart also, and this child is set for the fall and the rise, but there's heartbreak to come.
Yeah, for sure, heartbreak to come. Do you suppose there was any purpose or reason? I mean, how would we know? But that the Lord would choose through this angelic host to reveal the birth of the baby to shepherds?
Yeah.
I mean, shepherds, I mean, these guys weren't even allowed to be witnesses in court.
It's a great, and you know, moderns.
They're witnesses to this great event, and they're not allowed to be witnesses in court.
They're mangy. They probably typically have alcohol on their breath. They're the lowest strata of society. You know, they work the night shift, and nobody trusts them, and the last person whose word would be important would be a shepherd's word. Surely there's something humorous and subtle, but maybe knowingly important when Luke makes them the first people who get the message and who go straight to Bethlehem, just as they're told, fearfully, and then go back to their job, shouting and jumping and telling the good news.
Why would shepherds even have a theology, a worldview that included a messianic hope.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it astonishes me.
Yeah.
These guys probably would have been illiterate.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, some New Testament scholars today think that there was a whole class of the very poor people in Israel who were poor but holy in some sense, who waited desperately for the promises to come through. In Latin America, the so-called liberation theology peasant movement, they sometimes said, they make North Americans a little uncomfortable, but they sometimes even said, you know, if you're not poor, you might not really get Christmas. You don't quite experience the dramatic good news that's involved here, and look at who the cast of characters are.
Yeah. And by the way, the innkeeper gets a bad rap, you know, in Bethlehem, no room in the inn, but you hint, you don't expand on it, that maybe the first rap should be with Joseph and Mary's relatives in Bethlehem. Unlikely, or it's quite likely that they had relatives there who you suggest may have been embarrassed by this premature pregnancy.
I mean, the word is out. Joseph married this woman of what? Was she ill repute? I mean, she at least was pregnant. And you're not gonna invite those people like that to stay overnight. Another surely attempt on Luke's part to say, don't you people get it? I mean, God is willing to stay overnight. God is willing to make the long journey to earth, so don't be uppity about this.
Just a couple minutes left. What are you going to do this Christmas?
Well, I love a Christmas with the whole panoply of all the arts, the whole Western tradition coming to celebrate it. So, of course, on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, I will be going to my own Lutheran church in Washington. But every year now, for many years, the family makes a short 1-hour pilgrimage to Seattle, to the Episcopal Cathedral, for their 11 p.m. service, which is just artistically spectacular, and I can't resist it.
Oh, I can certainly identify with that. Donald Heinz is the author of Christmas, Festival of Incarnation. It's published by Fortress, a wonderful book, a book that you should have proudly not only on your shelf but in your heart and mind, and reread it every year. I loved it. Thanks for coming our way.
Thanks very much.